Alright, like, click, subscribe, do all that. You already know what time it is. It's Netflix time. This movie's called Moxie. Inspired by her mom's rebellious past and a confident new friend, a shy 16-year-old publishes an anonymous zine calling out sexism at her school. So this movie just came out. It's an hour and 51 minutes long. It's one of those teen stand up for your rights type of movie. Now, I'm not really known for breaking down social activist issues, but I'll do my best. Anyway, spoiler alert, here we go. So we start off with this girl named Vivian. She's having a dream of being in the woods. And she's trying to scream, but you can't hear anything coming out. I'm guessing that's going to be some kind of metaphor for this movie. So this 11th grader is getting ready for school. Oh look, it's Amy from Recreation and Parks and other shows like that. She played Vivian's mom in this movie. So she's basically getting ready for school, atmosphere of kids and whatnot. And there comes her best friend Claudia. She's talking about rankings at the school and whatnot. And this is like an unofficial list, you know, ranking somebody who has the best ass, who's the most bangable. It's done through the internet every year, you know, some male chauvinist shit. So we get into class, we got this new student there named Lucy. Then right off the back, she gets harassed by this asshole, the captain of the football team, dude by the name of Mitchell Patterson. So as they're doing an in-class movie, Vivian leads along with Seth. She hasn't seen him in a while. He used to be smaller the last time that she saw him. But now he's all grown up and obviously she's feeling him. So the teacher asks them what they've learned about The Great Gatsby. Apparently they read that book every year. And Lucy gives her opinion on it, which by the way is 100% accurate. But then Mitchell just cuts her off and goes on the predication that everybody reads this book, so it has to be great, you know what I'm saying? So right at the back he's showing he's got a bit of arrogance. And of course the teacher falls right in line with it. So you think to yourself, is he in the pocket of some of these teachers, or is this the way the school's just been run? So anyway, after Vivian and her mom goes grocery shopping, and then this guy comes out of nowhere and gives his mom something. I'm not sure if it's some celery or herbs or something. I mean, I don't know. Y'all tell me what it is. I'm lost. And then Vivian was like, ew, that man was flirting with you. And she's like, oh, really? I didn't even notice. Just ain't noticed nothing, huh? Word. So then she goes home and sends a letter to the University of Berkeley talking about women's issues. I'm like, you're still in high school. Can you even send those? While Claudia spends her time in a nursing home playing mahjong. I'm not even sure if it's a nursing home because they got like a stage with instruments on it or whatever. I think it's like some type of small auditorium or something. I don't know. So Vivian and Claudia meet back up at school the next day. And Vivian's too distracted looking at Seth. And then we got Mitchell being a dick to Lucy again. She's just trying to get a soda. He gets her soda and then spits in it. Yeah, his maturity level is at 0. Of course, when she goes to the principal about it, she ain't doing shit. And she's like, as long as he's not physically abusing you, he's cool. But like, all this social justice activist issues, like, I'm not dealing with that. So right off the back, you think this school has a male chauvinistic way of doing things? And then she just asks her to join like a marching band or something. So as she's walking away, she meets Vivian in the hallway. She's like, man, don't worry about Mitchell. He's just an asshole. And she's like, look, Mitchell's not just an asshole or annoying. I'm pretty sure it's code for worse stuff that he's probably done. And after having talks with her mom, it gets her brain to thinking. See, her mom back in the day was a rebel. She was part of a lot of activist groups and whatnot. So she starts going through a lot of old photos, a lot of old books and tapes, one specifically called Bikini Kill. How were they able to digitize this picture of Amy? So they're having their pep rally and their mascot is the pirate, right? And this guy gives out the cheesiest line in the history of movies. Whose year is it? Our year. I'm like, oh my God. And then you got the soccer team that kicks ass every year talking shit about the football team, you know, because it's monetized for football team. They're like, look, if they actually won a game, they would be worthy of the shit. Meanwhile, the soccer team, after winning national titles, can't even get proper uniforms. Definitely got to commend you on that. That's the way it should be, right? And here comes Mitchell, the team leader. You see this cheerleader right there? I want you to keep a close eye on her. She's the top cheerleader in the school, but we'll come back to her situation later on. So at the pep rally, this unofficial social media list comes out about who's the most bangable, who has the best ass, who has this, who has that. It's like ridiculous. Pretty sure this asshole had a lot to do with this list. So apparently they added a new category to this list and they called Lucy the biggest cunt. Their words, not mine. So when she confronts the principal about it, the principal is like, oh, it's just sticks and stones and social media. And she tells her to go back and sit down. We're having a pep rally. I'm like, wow. So clearly this has got Mitchell Patterson written all over it. So Vivian leaves. She's fed up with the whole shit. And she comes up with this paper explaining rights, liberties, and freedoms. And she calls it Moxie. And she goes to the copy place and she asks for like 50 copies. During school, when nobody's looking, she distributed it within the women's locker room and women's bathrooms. But she doesn't want anybody to know it's her just yet. Mitchell, being a dick, takes one of Lucy's copies and he's asking him like, did you write this? And of course, when he throws her away, Vivian gives her one. So Vivian, Lucy, and Claudia link up, and to show their support, they're going to draw stars and stuff on their hands. But you could tell Claudia is a little bit hesitant about it. Meanwhile, Vivian's going full-fledged with it. She goes to school and finds out that she's got a lot of girls feeling the Moxie movement, and a lot of them place stars on their hands. Vivian was even surprised Seth had stars on his hands too. So yeah, your boo was in full support of the movement. So during the lesson, the principal comes in and complains about her tank top. So she calls her in the office even though she has nothing to wear, and the girl right next to her is wearing the exact same type of tank top. But just because she's built differently, they gotta send her home. I'm like, really? She tells her mom about the day that she had. Mom talks about her rebel days. After that, Vivian and Claudia go to this party. which for some reason they thought was going to be conservative, but no, it was going to be over the top. Some type of luau party hosted by this guy. Yeah, the mascot. Like, come on, you think this was going to be some old laid back shit? So everybody's there doing what they do. She notices Seth's at the party. And here he comes again with another cheesy line. He's like, hey guys, just have fun, you know what I'm saying? Just make sure you all get laid. Because he's got a bunch of lays around him. It's like a luau type of thing. It's like, this guy's so fucking corny. So anyway, you got Vivian, Claudia, Lucy, and all the women in there to get together and talk about this Moxie stuff. And they're trying to come up with ideas of how to support the movement. But they're really trying to find out who Moxie really is. And of course, we know it's Vivian, but nobody knows that yet. So next day, she prints up some more copies, puts them in the bathroom again, making sure she doesn't get caught by the janitor. But then in the process, runs into Seth, who figures out, oh, it is Vivian that's doing this. Obviously, he'll keep her a secret because, you know, he kind of likes it too. The next day, she's got more readers reading into it. Now, the next move is to have everybody wear tank tops because of that one girl that got sent home for wearing a tank top just because of her bust size. But Claudia's been kind of hesitant to follow these rules. I'm pretty sure it's a reason, but why though? So they're hanging out at the mall, and even Lucy's trying to figure out, like, what is Claudia's deal? Like, what's going on? The only thing Vivian really says is that they're both introverts and they've known each other ever since, like, elementary school. So the next day, Claudia actually tried to sneak out the house with a tank top on, and mom was like, nah, I ain't having that shit. So the next day, all the girls came in with tank tops to support the movement. Even Seth did it. The only girl who didn't was Claudia. So we can see Claudia wants to be a part of the movement because of certain set rules that her mom has been making, she hasn't been able to. It goes deeper than that, but I'll explain later. Everybody wearing their tank tops, got the movement on, you know, this nigga backpedaling Mitchell and shit. And of course the teacher does too. Backpedaling on their arguments and shit. It's like, so at the end of a football game, they always nominate Mitchell for like the athlete of the year or whatever because nobody goes against him. So since the girls are leading this movement, they finally stand up for Kiera to run against Mitchell. Because she's like the best soccer player in the whole school. So they all nominated for Kiera, and they're actually surprised Seth did too. But I don't know why they're surprised though. He's been down with it since day one. So for whatever reason, Claudia been in her feelings because Vivian's been hanging around Lucy too long. And Vivian's just like, yo, what the fuck, dude? See, she's mad at the fact that Vivian's bringing things for the table upright, where Claudia, in her ways, she's very low-key about things. So they have a little bit of a falling out, but not really. So anyway, after Claudia dips out, Vivian runs into Seth. And they go riding around. And he brings her to this mortuary, and he tells her, like, he knows how bad security is, but he comes out here to also skate sometimes, because he's a skateboarder. They share a lot of random secrets. This scene tripped me out where they were just laying in the coffin listening to music. Alright, so she talks to him about the reason why she wants to keep it a secret, because she doesn't want to have to explain it or whatever. She just wants the words to do the talking for her. He's just kind of glad that he's the only one that knows, honestly. But you know they're really feeling each other. I mean, of course they are. Who the hell would go to a funeral home as a date, you know what I'm saying? He drops her off, confesses that he likes her for real. He talks about how she's a cute, powerful feminist and all this other stuff. He's like fumbling over his words and she just kisses him. She's like, fuck that shit. Yeah, she lets you know you good, dog. Anyway, mom was sitting up when she came home. And she was like, you was with Seth? Oh, yeah, Seth, the guy that peed his pants in middle school. She's like, mom, really? That's what you remember? That's what we're gonna bring up? Anyway, the girls are having a meeting in the locker room next day about how to get these votes. Now, you see this girl creeping in on the low? That's the top cheerleader that I was talking about. She wants to be a part of the meeting, but she never really joins in. She just, like, walks past them. You can tell she has something in her mind, but it hasn't really been explained yet. So apparently, Vivian and Seth been getting closer. And they found out more of their petitions to get more votes for Kiera. Claudia sees the principal trying to take down the sign, so you feel like in the back of her mind she's going to do something to help out. So the reason why the principal was tearing down the posters is because Moxie was not officially registered in the registry. So Claudia registered them for her. So that was her way of helping out this radical group. There you go. So she is on board with the mission. So they need more ladies to vote for Kiera, but they don't have a place where they could take all these ladies into town. But eventually, Claudia comes up with a place. Yeah, Claudia says they could use the auditorium that she works in. Or nursing home, or whatever place she works at, you know what I'm saying? They have a little concert and all that. Next day in school, they're waiting on the morning announcements. But instead of having both representatives do it today, Mitchell comes over and takes over. Keep in mind, he just moved away to top cheerleader. I think her name is Ann. He gives this supposed heartfelt speech to try to get the voters back on his side. He talks about Moxie saying who are they and that person has never come forward to claim themselves. He says, why don't you claim somebody you know as opposed to somebody you don't know? Yeah, he's a slick operator, but it's a lot of bullshit that comes out of his mouth. Vivian wants to introduce Seth to her mom. The conversation is hilarious. And then she's like, alright mom, you embarrassed me enough. We're going to the game. Meanwhile, at the game, the Pirates are getting their candy ass whipped 27-3. They're in the car enjoying each other, but they don't have sex yet. He wants everything to be perfect and all that. But why does he have his shirt off though? Know what I'm saying? The Pirates got their candy ass whooped, but now it's time for the voting. So I guess that bullshit morning announcement excuse was enough to have Mitchell Patterson win the competition. Yeah, people still voted for him. Yeah, so the movement has been derailed a little bit. Vivian gets drunk off champagne. Vivian heads back to the house and finds mom with the grocery store guy, Chives or whatever. His name is Josh. and they've been getting it popping for a while apparently. Then she's like, really mom, very hypocritical with the secrets after I tell you everything, and it's like, come on. So now she prints up you're an asshole stickers. I'm like, oh boy. They hang them up all over the place. I'm pretty sure that's not gonna go well. Especially with a certain principal. But the thing is, they still don't know who Moxie is, so. The thing is, when she was in the office, she actually took Shelly's Principal of the Year award trophy. Next day back at school, Vivian finds out that Claudia got suspended for Moxie. See, her friends think it's going to be fine because it's a revolutionary thing, but Vivian is like, no, Claudia has social issues. So she goes to check on Claudia, mom's going to slam the door in her face like, no. So she sneaks up through the back window to talk to her. And Claudia's like, look, you need to tell them who you are. You're hiding behind your whiteness right now, you know what I'm saying? Like, we came to this country and it was very hard to even get to this position in the first place. Yeah, she breaks it down to her in a ridiculous amount of detail. So she's feeling the pressure and the weight and everything that comes out in the dinner that they're having. And she starts spazzing out about gender equality and all this. Which is fine, but you're voicing your argument to the wrong people. So at this point, she's just fed up with the school and their bullshit. She's been taking it out on Seth, which she knows is wrong. She's just generally confused about the way things are going right now. Then she goes in the bathroom and leaves this anonymous letter to Moxie explaining about this girl getting raped last year. I think y'all have a clue as to who I'm talking about. So at night, she goes to the school with a paint can and puts up rape port and tweets it on Instagram and stuff, obviously keeping her name out of it. But the message is definitely crystal clear. So they're in class the next day and Vivian's like, you know what, fuck this shit. She knocks on the doors, gets everybody out of school. She gives this long speech and tells everybody she's Moxie. And then Anne wants to come up and have something to say. That's the top cheerleader we've been talking about. So she gives her message and the Instagram post was about her. She says she was the one that was raped by Mitchell Patterson. That same scumbag that's been picking on Lucy. Even the principal couldn't skirt around this one. She had to get you the fuck up out of there, dog. That miserable piece of filth. So then a lot of other girls come up and speak their truth. Vivian makes back up with Seth, who's got her name written on his arm. And that's pretty much the end of the movie. So what I took from the movie is about equal opportunity, liberties, and rights, and bottom line, women need to be heard. There you go. I know it's a lot more to it than that, but you get the point. Moxie on Netflix. Check it out. Like, click, subscribe, do all that. You already know what time it is. Slick, easy, all the easy, best. Big. Could have got that slogan.